Hi, and welcome to the Module 4 overview. This week, you're going to spend most of your time working with your team completing the single source project. And I've put together this overview as well as sort of a follow along in Madcap Flare. And so this will be a really important overview video. So if you've kind of skimmed through some of the past ones, try not to do that with this one. This one's going to have a lot of important information. Okay, so let's get started. So we are here in Module 4 at the tail end of this orange section of the semester, which is the single source project. So this week you'll have the team single source deliverables, which will be due at the end of the week on Sunday. So again, you'll notice there's not a whole lot of other assignments because I wanted to give you as much time this week to work with your team and to complete everything you need to complete. So what you'll be working on is you're going to be completing your single source proof of concept. So last week you did quite a bit of work, both individually as a team. Individually, you put together topic-based authoring, or you practiced topic-based and structured authoring in Flare. And then as a team, you put together a micro and macro level content model. And that macro and micro level content model are going to be super helpful in helping you complete the rest of this assignment. So how am I evaluating you as a team for this final assignment submission? So number one, you're going to need to output 3 targets, and targets is just a fancy word for output in Flare. There's going to be 2 print targets in the form of PDFs. One will be the hardware installation guide, and the second will be the software configuration guide. As a reminder, the hardware installation guide and software configuration guide is not going to be the entire, all of the content from the PDF. It'll just be chapter 1 from both guides. And then it'll be Appendix B for the hardware guide and Appendix A for the software guide. So that's the content that you're going to need to put together. You're going to revise, rewrite, put together, and then output 3 targets, the 2 print and then the 1 web-based or HTML5 knowledge base. Okay, so those will need to be designed, developed, and built, and I'll walk you through how to do all of that here in today's video as well. And then you'll need to upload or submit your files to Madcap Central so that I can see them. Okay, so that's the first thing, is the actual target files. The second thing will be the cover letter, and you can see details about the cover letter in Canvas. But the cover letter is an important part of the submission because it allows you to provide justification for your decisions and your choices. And those justifications are going to be helpful for me, but also helpful for providing context for your submission. Because remember, you're submitting essentially a proposal to Content Rules, who will then pass this along to the tech company. So be sure to take a look at the requirements for the cover letter on Canvas. I don't want to spend too much time because I do want to get into some of the technical details. And then finally, I will be grading based on your Slack team channel usage. Just really looking to make sure that everybody's been participating and doing their fair share of the project. Okay, so those are the 3 main ways that I'll evaluate you. I also wanted to point out sort of how single sourcing from a visual perspective actually looks, or actually a conceptual perspective. So if we think about Madcap Flare, we'll have all of our articles for the Zen 4 content as our single source. So that will be in Flare. And we'll be able to do some information architecture, some structured authoring, some rewriting, maybe some reorganization of topics. And we'll be able to output from this single source to PDF manuals or to online help. And the beauty of it is, again, if we remove something from the single source, it gets removed from the online help and the PDF. If we add something to the single source, we can set it to automatically add to the online help or PDF manual, right? So there's a lot of advantage in automation in this sense. Okay, so this week you'll have to be walking through 4 major tasks, okay? So last week you did quite a bit of information architecture work, and you've identified which exact topics should belong in each target, right? So you identified, the Article X goes with Chapter 1 of the hardware manual. Article Y goes with Chapter 1 of the software manual, so on and so forth. So you've done a lot of the work already. Now you've got to step 1, author the content. Step 2, design targets. Again, targets are just a fancy word for different outputs. So this will be your print PDF targets and your HTML5 web-based targets. You'll develop those targets and then you'll build those targets. So it's a 4-step process. And what I want to do now is I'm going to walk you through in Flare each one of these steps. So the first thing we'll do is step 1 would be authoring content. So when we author content, you want to do a couple things. 1, obviously we want you to use your work from previous modules, so module 3 in particular. So you'll have received feedback from the topic-based authoring assignment, and so that'll be good feedback in terms of how to proceed in authoring content. You will have already created templates from the content modeling project. So those 3 templates, 1 for task, 1 for reference, 1 for concept. You may need to update those templates based on feedback, but you already have templates in place, which is a very good thing. You already have information architecture information as well from content modeling, meaning any given topic that you're going to author or revise, you already know whether it's a task, a reference, or a concept. And you already know sort of where it fits in the larger body of the content. And so make sure you're using that spreadsheet that you put together in Module 3. Okay, so the second thing I want to point out is what is actually required of you in working with the content. Okay. So the first requirement is that all your topics need to be built from DITA-inspired templates. And again, you're just going to do the best you can. I am under no illusion that you'll need to follow DITA to a T or to read every last specification of DITA. The main thing I'm looking for here is, are your topics either task-based, reference-based, or concept-based, right? So have you divided your topics into one of those 3 areas, and are they structured? And does the structure make logical sense, right? Meaning, and when I say are they structured, are all of your tasks formatted and structured from a content perspective identically? Are all of your concepts formatted and structured from a content perspective identically, and so on and so forth? So that's what I mean by topics built from DITA-inspired templates. Number 2, DITA-based short descriptions, also called meta descriptions. These are ways to add metadata or information about the topic or article itself into the topic without actually including those literal words on the page. And it's a way for users to write for search engines essentially. And so this is a way for search and index to actually help users find your content. So I'll show you how to do that. Number 3, keywords tagged and relevant topics. So again, we'll go in and I'll show you how to tag keywords. Keywords, again, are ways for machines to index your content and the content to be more easily findable and indexable, which was one of the tech company's requirements. Number 4, search function for online. That's not something you'll actually build. That'll be built into the target when you build it, so you don't need to worry too much about that. And then number 5, a cover and table of contents for print. And again, those are going to be automatically added in the templates for your PDF targets. And I'll show you all of that here in just a everybody. Now I'm going to show you a step-by-step walkthrough of all of the steps of your single sourcing project. So step 1 would be the authoring part. And during the authoring part, you're going to have to rewrite the articles in a structured way. And so part of that will be including metadata or short descriptions. I'm going to use those interchangeably, as well as adding keywords. So let me show you how to do that. And I'm just going to pull up a random article. This may not be from chapter 1, so you may or may not be actually using this in your in your proof of concept, but the ideas will be the same. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to provide a short description. You may have already written short descriptions if you've already rewritten some of your topics. But what I'll do is I'm just going to copy and paste this first sentence. This is not what you're going to do. You're going to actually write short descriptions. I'm just going to show you how to do it. So to do it, you're going to right click. You're going to go into your Content Explorer. You're going to find your article and you're going to right click it and click Properties. And then you'll probably be pulled up the topic properties. Go down to meta tags and click add a meta tag. Now you can add a short description. So you would actually want to put a short description with keyword rich content that just summarizes what the actual article is. I just copy and pasted some text to show you how it works. No big deal. But that's how you would add a topic. A short description. Easy as that. So I'm going to Control S and save that, make sure it's still there. Okay. All right. Next part. I'm going to show you how to add keywords. So for example, ZSM might be a good word to index so that if someone's searching for ZSM, they can find this article as well. So to add keywords, I am just going to highlight any word that I want to add a keyword to, and I'm going to click index window. And then I'm going to go again, make sure that my ZSM is selected, and I am going to just add a keyword, ZSM Z series module. And the green here indicates that a keyword's been added. We could also add, for example, let's see, what's a good one? Chassis airflow path. So I'm going to select chassis, and I'm going to mark it with the keyword chassis. Okay. I'm going to Control S to save. And so that's how you add short descriptions and keywords. Okay. Your keywords will already have been identified in your Module 3 Information Architecture team content modeling activity. So again, I'm just adding things sort of arbitrarily. You will have thoughtfully already created keywords and metadata, and all of that will be easily added to these articles. So again, just as a quick recap, to add a short description or metadata, right-click and click Properties, and go to Meta Tags. To add keywords, go ahead and select something in the actual topic, and then add the actual indexable word. I'm just adding one more just for fun. And you can see the green part is where the keywords will highlight. Okay, so that was how to add keywords and short descriptions. Okay, so now that we've looked at the ways that we can add metadata or short descriptions, and we found out ways to tag keywords, let's move on to actually designing targets. So, and by design, we're actually talking about visual design in this case. And so my caveat for this section is do not spend too much time on this section. The imported files from FrameMaker are a mess, right? And when we import the files, Madcap Flare does the best it can, but it just uses sort of the data that's sent from the original files. All that to say, the design is a little bit messy already as it is. But I am asking you to do at least two things for designing your targets. One, use the master CSS style sheet in Flare and not local formatting, meaning don't go into a topic and change the font or the typography in the topic. Instead, make those updates in the master CSS style sheet. And I will show you how to do that here in a second. And then number two, you're only going to have to make two small style tweaks. I'm going to ask you to tweak the paragraph tags in your PDF target, meaning make the paragraph tags a little different for your PDF than versus online. And then vice versa, the opposite. Make your H1 tags a little different in HTML5 than they are in the print version. And I'm going to walk you through that here right now. Okay, so the next step is to design our targets. And again, the parameters for visual design are going to be very, very low. One, you have to use the master CSS style sheet. Two, you have to update a paragraph tag for print and a H1 or heading 1 tag for web. So let's do it. Let me show you how to do that. So you could go in here and you could update things locally by just changing the font or whatever. That's going to be not the best way to do it because we've got 190 plus topics. If we made one change to one topic, we would have to make 190 changes to 190 topics. The master style sheet allows us to make the change once in the CSS, and we're all good to go. So to do that, we're going to go back into our view ribbon. We'll go back into our Content Explorer, and I'm going to close out all my folders. So this is the view that you should see. I'll click my resources folder, I'll click style sheets, and I'll click main styles.css. So this is going to load the CSS style sheet. A couple things to look for immediately. What medium are you in? You'll be in default, most likely, and that default is HTML5, so web-based. If we want to change print, we'll go to print. So we want to change the paragraph tags for print. So we're going to go down to our paragraph tag here, and we're going to make some updates. But there's a couple sort of caveats, and this is very important. You're going to want to hover over any given article. I would actually suggest doing this for each of your three data topics. So one for concept, one for reference, one for task, and just look and see what the classes are for each of these paragraph tags. Because the way that this got imported from FrameMaker is that it added a bunch of CSS classes to these paragraph tags. So I can't just change the paragraph tag once in our CSS. I have to actually select each of these classes. So let's just try to hit as many of them as I can. So we've got class body, class bullet 1. These are all bullets. Class bullet 1, class body, class body, class body, and then fig caption. So let's go into main styles. So we know body needs to be updated. So let's update our font. Right now it's monospace, which is weird. We're going to update it to something a little fancier. Sharp Sans, 10-point font. We'll change body 1 too. Change it to 10-point as well. Because I saw body 1 in a different type of, in a concept article. So I'll update that one as well. And then we saw bullet 1. So let's update bullet 1. It already is Sharp Sans. We'll change that to 10-point font. And then what was the other one? Fig caption, right? So we'll change this to Sharp Sans, 10-point. So my suggestion is do not change every single one of these subclasses. It's a waste of time. Just try to hit as many as you can based on the widest sort of variety of articles that you can. And that's going to be good enough. I'm not terribly worried about the visual design, although I just want you to do the best you can. So let's now take a look at our layout for print. And let's go to page layout, and we can scroll down and we can see, if we go back to our home ribbon, Sharp Sans and Times New Roman, still Times New Roman, weird. Let's see. Class body. Let's make sure that got updated. So P class body, sharp sands should be good. I'm going to actually change this one as well, the main one, just in case. Body. Oh, you know what it was? I didn't save. So this is going to be a big one. So Control S if you haven't saved. If you see a little like you see a little asterisk, that means it's not been saved yet. Um, so what I'll do is I'm going to load the web layout again, and we'll reload the print layout. Let's see how we did. All right, sharp sands here. This must be the bullet one. Let's see. This one's not changing for some reason, so that's tricky. Figure one changed. Everything changed except for the. This is still Times New Roman for some reason, and it looks like it's class body. So again, you could troubleshoot this all day. I'm really not terribly worried about it. You know, like I said, do the best you can. I'm going to switch it to something else, and then I'm going to switch it back to see if it maybe didn't take for some reason. It should be all good though. Let's try again. Yeah, I don't know why. Oh well, I'm not going to worry about it. If it bothers you, you can switch it manually. Even though I told you don't switch it manually, you could if you wanted to. For some reason, it's not liking. It's not updating this one. We can go back to our default. Let's just actually take a look at another image, or I'm sorry, another article too, and see if those got updated. Prerequisites. Let's see. Yeah, so this is sharp sands for sure. Yep. Sharp sands. These are tables. We didn't update those. We only updated our paragraph tags. So it's going to get updated. Not every article is going to be perfect, or not every topic is going to be perfect. But you can see kind of how it works. Like find the body class, and you can update really any element you want, but in particular the paragraph tag. So yeah, I think we're in pretty decent shape here. Now, the other thing I asked you to do is to update H1 tags in for the web. So we're in our medium default here, which is the web, and we'll scroll up to H1. And same thing, we need to figure out which subclass to actually update. So let's go ahead and let's go to our web layout. And let's go to H1, and we're going to look for class heading 1. So we'll go to our main styles, and we'll go to class heading 1. And I'm going to change this to Comic Sans just to troll you all. And we'll change this to 2. Line height, let's just set the line height to default, to normal, and click OK. And now I'm going to save it. So now all of our headings should be this beautiful Comic Sans. This is in print. So in print, that's what we look like. Now let's switch this to web. See if we get some Comic Sans action. Yep. So in web, now all of our heading ones are Comic Sans. Again, do as I say, not as I do. Never use Comic Sans. I just did this to troll you all. Okay, so that's it. So really, those are the only 2 updates that you need to make from a visual design standpoint, updating the paragraph tag for print, the H1 tag for web. But as always, you can go above and beyond if you'd like. If visual design is your thing, please feel free to do the best you can and style it the best you can. Okay, so after we've designed our targets, steps 3 and 4 are to develop and actually build those targets. And the building of the targets is actually the easiest part. But let me just really quickly walk you through the process, and then I'll do a screen share so you can see it. So what you'll do is you'll create 3 separate targets in Flare. Again, targets are just a fancy word for outputs. So 1 hardware, 1 software PDF, and then 1 HTML5. So those are the 3 targets that you'll build. And 2 of those 3 will automatically be already built for you. Or not built, but created for you. And you'll have to create the third. And then you'll have to create 3 separate TOCs, or table of contents, for each target. Again, 2 of them will automatically be created for you. You'll have to create the third. And essentially what you'll do once you've created the 3 targets and the 3 separate table of contents is that you'll arrange your single sourced topics. So whatever topics you're including for your each target, you'll arrange those topics into each of the 3 tables of contents. So there'll be a table of contents for hardware, one for software, and one for HTML5. And I'll show you how to do that here in a second with this screen capture. Once your TOCs are completely arranged and look exactly how you want them to, you can build the targets, and that's it. Once you build the targets, you have a PDF output, or I'm sorry, 2 PDF outputs and a HTML5 output, and those are the outputs that I'll be able to eventually grade. Okay, we're finally on to the last 2 steps. So I've showed you how to add short descriptions or metadata. I showed you how to add keywords to topics. I've showed you how to update the overall design using the main style sheet. So now we'll need to actually develop and build the outputs. This will be the last stage. So don't do this until you're done revising all the topics, adding your keywords, doing all that work. So we've been living primarily in our Content Explorer, but we're going to move over to our project organizer, and this is the view that you'll see. And you'll see we're going to focus on 2 folders, targets and TOCs. Targets are going to be the 3 targets that we want to output for the project. That's what I'm going to actually be able to see and review and grade. So for targets, by default, you'll have, I've already renamed this one hardware, but you'll have one called PDF and one called HTML5. So basically what you're going to want to do is right click and add a target. And let's create a software PDF as well. So I'm going to create that target. Did that work? That worked. And in TOCs, by default, you'll see an HTML5 and a PDF. You're going to have to do the same thing for TOCs, but I want to show you something really quickly. So our TOC by default for the PDF is going to have a cover page and a table of contents page. And so what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to clear this out because I was just experimenting. Delete. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to create a new TOC. So I'm going to add a table of contents, and I'm going to call it. I wish I had 2 hands to type. PDF. I'm holding a mic right now. Software. And I'm going to add that TOC, and I am actually going to go into PDF software, and I'm going to actually delete everything in PDF software, and I'm going to start from scratch. So actually, it requires you to have 1 TOC book, and that's fine. I'm just going to leave that in there for now, but I'm going to create a new entry. I'm going to click the left arrow and make it a top level entry, and I'm going to call it cover. COVER. And I'm going to right click cover, and I'm going to link it to a topic under software config folder called cover. And we're going to find it alphabetically here. Okay. I'm going to also add a new top level entry. We're going to move it all the way to the left. I'm going to call this one contents. Oops. So I'm going to link it to a topic. And this is going to be the tricky part. Even though we're in the software PDF, you're going to have to go into hardware install and go to cover or contents.htm, capital C contents. We'll click add. And then I'm going to delete the first 2 entries. So I'm going to select them and delete, and we should have a cover and contents. And that should look identical to our hardware PDF, which also has a cover and contents. So our software PDF also has a cover and contents. So we're all good. So now to actually develop the actual TOC, we're just going to drag and drop topics. And basically what we're doing here is a macro level um, a macro level content model, and we're just going to like visually drag in topics. So we want to order the topics how we've decided to order them, and we want to create hierarchy where we've decided to create hierarchy, meaning there may be some topics that are subtopics of other topics. So let me just show you how to do that. You'll already have all this work done in your information architecture. You already know which topics to include where. But in this case, I'm going to just randomly choose some. So do as I say, not as I do. I'm not going to actually set this up, quote unquote, properly. So I'm just going to add a couple topics. I'm going to add administrative tasks, chassis view. That sounds good. I'm going to add these all as top level for now. Common security tasks. And then I'm going to add, I don't know, something like file systems, and I'm going to add it as a subtopic underneath common security tasks. Again, this doesn't make any sense necessarily. I'm just adding topics randomly. So I'm going to save that. And this is our master, this is our content model. This is our master sort of TOC. And when I create a PDF, it's going to be all of these topics. So let's go in back to our project organizer. And let's go back to our software PDF and double click it. So this is again in targets. And we're going to build the target. So I'm going to switch this to PDF. And I am going to change my primary TOC to software. And that's it. Default page layout, default style sheet should be all good. So now if I click build, it'll start to build and we can see the progress here. 1102, that's correct. Now I can double click it. Once it's done, it'll open. If I can, I don't know why I can't expand this. Can't expand this menu, but it'll open eventually. It takes a few seconds to build. And in fact, I'll just click view target. Oh, there we go. The second target is already being built. That's why. It's just being built. It's taking a minute. There it goes. So I double click and we can see our cover page that gets automatically generated when we linked it to that cover. And then our contents gets automatically generated as well. So we can see a TOC is generated with all page numbers and everything in there. It's kind of amazing. And then I just dragged and dropped those tasks, as you remember. And you can see that they're all in here in the order and in the hierarchy that we defined. And it even includes glossary and index at the end. So very cool. Looks not very good because I didn't take much time to design it. But hey, better than nothing. So I've built a PDF for software completely based on single sourced topic based content. Very cool. Now, let's do the same thing with HTML5. I won't do the hardware one. It's the same concept for the hardware one as I did for the software. You'll find and order your topics. You'll create the hierarchy, and you should be good to go. So let's create our HTML5 TOC, and I'm going to delete everything in here again. Delete. And I'm going to show you a couple things. So one, I'm going to actually add a top level item. And I'm going to call it, I'm going to rename it. Why can't I rename you? I want to rename you. There are you. There are you. There you are. We'll go hardware for one. And I'm going to add another top level item. And I am going to, and I wonder if, I'm just going to leave it as it is for now. I'm going to call this software. I was thinking out loud. I wonder if I could create a book and it would accomplish the same thing, but I'm just going to create an item for now. So hardware and software, and then we can create, and I'm not going to, again, I'm going to choose random files. This is not going to be anything like yours is going to look, but I'm just going to add a couple elements at random. Um, I'll add a little hierarchy in too. So I'll just move this as a sub of configuring application front end. Again, none of this actually makes any sense. Just adding things to show you how it works. So that would be software. Now let me go to my hardware folder and add a few things into my hardware folder. We can add this top level. I'll add these series underneath as children. So these series 1, 2, and 3.htm are now children under the PMM 0410 series. So again, not accurate, just showing you how it works. Okay, so now we have a hardware section, a software section, and some content modeled here based on our topics. I'm going to save my TOC. So this is my HTML5 TOC, and I'm going to build it. So I'm going to go into my target for HTML5. I'm going to do output type, make sure it's HTML. I'm going to make sure that my TOC is HTML5, which it is, and then I'm going to click view, which will then build my HTML5 output. So this, again, might take a second. And it's building still. There it goes. And here we go. So we have our knowledge base. We have our hardware section where we can view all of our hardware-based articles. We have our software section where we can view our software-based articles. Honestly, I think I probably want, so you can see how these are like top level navigation items. I think it probably makes sense to hierarchically move all of these items underneath Zen 4 knowledge base. So maybe we'll try that. So I can indent these, and now all of these are children of the Zen 4 knowledge base item, which I think makes more logical sense to me. I think either way is going to work, but I'm just going to do that. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if we can't. I'm going to see if we can't switch the layout to side navigation, because I think that would be. And as you can see, there's a lot of options. I'm not going to teach you all these options. You can play around with them as you'd like. But I'm going to save this, and I'm going to rebuild it and see what that side navigation looks like with our new hierarchy, and then I'll be done. So I showed you, the whole process. The last two steps are going to be your final two steps. And yeah, I think I like it like this, right? So we've got our hardware. We can navigate from one section to the other. We can see our hierarchy here that we created. All these articles are looking good. All the updates that we made to our H1s are looking good. We can do the same for software, administrative tasks, chassis view. Right, so I think we're doing pretty good. So this is an example of the HTML5 output. I showed you an example of the PDF output. And really the main thing is it's all coming from the same single source of content that is found here. And so hopefully that all made sense. If you've got questions, as always, feel free.